What's going on, everybody? In this video, I want to show you a couple things Cleanspark related. We're going to look at a few charts comparing the miners and their cost to mine Bitcoin, among some other things. We have Cleanspark's next mining update coming up in probably roughly a week or so. So I'm going to show you what I'm looking for there. And we're also going to look at Cleanspark and Bitcoin on the chart. The miners are seeing a little bit of a recovery day for the most part, while Bitcoin is struggling under 40,000, having a hard time to break and stay over 40,000. So we're going to go over everything I just mentioned here in this video. If you guys get something useful out of this, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Consider joining my membership for only $2 a month to show your support, and check out the links down below if you want some free stocks or cryptos. Now, first off, I want to show you guys this, and it shows how the miners stack up and their all-in cost to mine Bitcoin. Now, you'll notice there are a few miners missing from this list. For example, Sphere 3D is pretty much off the radar here. It's an extremely small market cap. They mine a very insignificant amount of Bitcoin compared to the other miners. That said, at least in Sphere 3D's case, you're talking about like a $20 million company. But before I get sidetracked on the nuances, I want to show you guys Cleanspark, their all-in cost to mine Bitcoin. And this is from Cantor Fitzgerald. This was dated back in October, and I have a more updated one to show you here. And they say below we provide an all-in cost per Bitcoin comparison for the first quarter of 2024. With the halving expected to occur in April of 2024, we believe this provides the best picture of miners' unit economics, right before the block reward gets slashed in half. And we have Cleanspark at a cost of $14,493 per each Bitcoin mined. And you'll see some other Bitcoin miners that have pretty attractive all-in cost to mine Bitcoin. We have Cypher, we have Riot, Bitdeer, that's another one I want to actually look at. I want to give you guys a video on that at some point. People have been asking about it. We have TeraWolf, another big favorite of many people. Bitfarms, another favorite among a lot of you guys. Iris Energy, a stock that I own. We've got Mara at roughly a $20,000 cost to mine. I think when looking at Mara and Riot, a lot of people are like Mara versus Riot. They're the two top largest miners. I prefer Riot personally. I really don't like how much debt Mara has, but I haven't looked at them in a while, to be honest, so things could have certainly changed. And as Bitcoin goes up drastically in price, Mara has a huge amount of Bitcoin, so they can definitely pay off their debt as Bitcoin rises. But we've also got SDIG, BTBT. And while BTBT's all-in cost to mine Bitcoin is kind of high, seems unattractive here, I do like that Bit Digital stakes and holds Ethereum. So for me, it's one of the only miners I know of that stakes Ethereum. I see it as an Ethereum play. When Ethereum rallies, hopefully the market will realize that Bit Digital does hold Ethereum. And when the spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved, here's one example, Bit Digital started rallying on Ethereum rallying. So hopefully the market continues to follow that trend there. But I want to show you the other chart that's a little more recent. And I'll leave the screen here so you guys can see all the names. You'll see that Cleanspark is #1. When you look at electricity cost, excluding power credits, interest expense, and selling general and administrative expenses, Cleanspark is the best here. And it says here this was from December 14th, 2023, so really not too long ago. But Cleanspark, post-halving cash cost per Bitcoin, under $30,000. I think that's massive. That's great. And they're only getting more and more efficient and increasing their hash rate as time goes on. But, you know, all the miners are, aren't they? Now, I want to get into Cleanspark on the chart. I've been saying, you know, we're getting towards oversold. It's time to buy. And we have been seeing a nice little bounce since. I could always turn out to be wrong and we could fall further. We didn't necessarily get too oversold, but we got close. But if Bitcoin shows any further weakness, Cleanspark can definitely fall, actually get too oversold on the RSI on the daily, and head towards its 200 MA, potentially right at 550. And that is if we fail the $6 psychological support, if we get all the way down there. But the chart's looking bullish. The 50 and the 200 MA are still pointing up despite this pullback. And while we're under the 50 MA currently, we are still above the 200 MA. If we don't see any more drastic falling from here, the chart is still going to remain bullish. And so far, we're holding up this previous resistance as a support. And this previous resistance was back in August of 2023, right in the high 6s. So far we're holding that, which is great. But like I've been saying, guys, we filled that gap. I think it's a great time to be adding to Cleanspark, knowing what's coming up in the next months to couple of years. You're looking at the top miner in terms of all-in cost to mine Bitcoin here. We're looking at one of the most aggressive growers in terms of hash rate. And we're also looking at one of the miners with the best uptime in the industry, up in the 90s percentage-wise. And you can now get Cleanspark for a 40-something% discount from its recent top. I think this recent drop shook all the short-minded people out, shook all the weak hands out. And there are a lot of articles lately that I've been noticing circulating around a lot of the small cap stocks and how we have such high short interest. But I'll be covering that in a future video for you guys. But I believe Cleanspark is on the road to recovery here, and I do believe now is still the time to be adding. Now looking at Bitcoin, like I said guys, we're having a little bit of a struggle to get over 40,000. I want to see us break 40,000 and actually hold, but we did wick down all the way to 38,500 before quickly being bought back up. And as I said in the previous video, we're finding resistance on this ascending trend line. It was a previous resistance way back here, turned out to be a support, and now it seems to be flipping as a resistance. I think it's possible we stay range bound for a little bit longer, from 40,000 to roughly 38,500, get a little sideways action here before either breaking up or breaking down, but it's all up to the market. It's all up to what news comes out. It's all up to if the miners are finally done selling their Bitcoin for now. But make no mistake, now is the time to be buying Bitcoin on these dips. From now until likely late 2024, maybe early 2025, Bitcoin will remain a dip buying opportunity, and we are going much higher by late 2025. And why do I think and believe that? Well, that's because of the halvings. So far, they've all played out, while not exactly the same, very similarly. Where the halving year, you see a rally. The year before the halving year is a recovery year. And the year after the halving is the really parabolic, huge running year, where people get very euphoric, where things get very overbought, and then they inevitably start crashing and we get into crypto winter. Based on the halving cycles, 2025 is likely to be the top, probably at some point by around the summer. So looking at 2024, for any of you curious, I think it'll be a great buying opportunity throughout most of 2024 to continue to buy and continue to scale in if you're not fully built out on these. And I'm talking about the miners across the board and most cryptos, most altcoins. Now's the time to be very bullish on the crypto space. And despite running up, a couple multiples already, we still have a lot more to go. Now I did want to touch on Cleanspark's upcoming mining update. This is going to be coming up probably anywhere from 5 to 7 days roughly. And I want to mention a couple things to look out for. So this was a recent press release saying that Cleanspark is working towards 50 exahash. And while we're not getting deliveries on these until roughly April, where we're getting 60,000 units from April through June with call options to purchase an additional 100,000, while we're not going to be seeing these getting deployed anytime soon, they're going to touch on this, maybe provide a little further detail on this, but I do expect them to, at the very least, mention this in their next mining update. And obviously, we want to see improvement from the previous month. We want to see more than 720 Bitcoin mined in January. We want to see them working on hodling more, getting well over this 3,000 current holdings. We want to hopefully see them selling less Bitcoin than in December. That would be my goal. Maybe we'll see their deployed fleet grow. And we also have another expansion coming, and I'll touch on that in just a second here. And while in this coming update, we're probably not going to see the month-end fleet efficiency change, we will likely see that in future months. And also a hash rate of 10.08 exahash per second. And we'll see if they can reach a daily Bitcoin mined high of over 30 Bitcoin in one day. But this is probably one of the main things to focus on, and this is their Sandersville update. And as of the December update, the Sandersville construction has been completed on all 10 buildings for that 150 megawatt expansion. All their Antminer XPs have been received and are in the company's custody currently in Georgia. And in addition to this expansion, the company is also testing firmware upgrades on the newest Antminer S21s, but all machines necessary for the 150 megawatt expansion have been delivered and are expected to be installed over the coming weeks as the company prepares for energization in February. They're going to give us another update on this. They're going to tell us if there's going to be a delay or if they're going to come ahead of schedule. This all boils down to the energy providers though. You might remember a couple months ago when they said there was a 16 exahash goal by the end of 2023. Well, they missed that due to the energy providers, but we are still going to see that 16 exahash, even if it's a couple months late. So we will likely see an update on that. Hopefully they give us a little more detail. Maybe they say some machines are actually racked and ready. Some are getting energized perhaps. Maybe a few of the 10 buildings are already getting energized. But I do think February's mining update will be the really big one. But January should still be pretty interesting. And of course we have Cleanspark's earnings coming up. And in my previous video I mentioned that I do expect them to exceed their revenue expectations. Because when their outlook was given in the previous earnings call, Bitcoin was much lower in price. And this earnings is going over October, November, and December, which are 3 months where Bitcoin overall rose in price. So we should see at the very least a revenue beat there. But let me know what you guys think about all this. We're definitely going to be looking at an exciting February with the mining update coming up, their earnings coming up, and hopefully Bitcoin recovering soon from all these miners selling, from the FTX drama, from the Mt. Gox headwinds, from the GBTC selling, and soon we will see what the effect of these spot Bitcoin ETFs really have. But there has been a lot of selling otherwise, and I do think soon we will feel the real effects of these spot Bitcoin ETFs being approved, because in the background, BlackRock is buying, Fidelity is buying. They are loading up on your Bitcoin. Do not sell to them. But thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.